Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the DAH-071 Samurai Shodown JUBEI YAGYU from Beast Kingdom Dynamic Action Heroes, or 8-Kishin Heroes. So last time I reviewed one of these figures, it was the Black Suit Superman. Big Bad Toy Store asked me to review it. It was an exclusive for them from this brand, and it was possibly the worst thing I've ever looked at ever. This is the same case in that Big Bad Toy Store asked me to review this. It doesn't say anywhere that it's an exclusive to them, but apparently there's some kind of connection. I have it upside down. Some kind of connection, or they're just trying to move product. I don't know. They asked me to review it. I said, sure, this should be interesting, because the last one was really bad. This one, luckily, is significantly better, like a whole lot, like it could be a whole different brand. So, if you're interested in this sort of thing, stick around. You might be surprised at what I have to show you. So let's go ahead and get this off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands to the top of his head just under 21.5 centimeters. That's going to make him roughly 8 and let's just call it 3/8 inches. So he does have some definite size to him. Here he is. I don't know what Darwin's up to. Here he is up against a Marvel Legends Darwin. Lots bigger. Now, like I said, Big Bad Toy Store did provide this. Of course, they didn't tell me what to say in any way. I can review it however I want. But if you do want to get one, there is a link to Big Bad Toy Store in the description below. They have all kinds of good stuff. It's where I buy most of my personal collection items. Alright, so I'm not going to do a question of the day because I don't know enough about Samurai Shodown. But if you guys are watching this, you might, or you might not, I don't know. Accuracy-wise, I had to do a little bit of research. It looks like it's fairly accurate. The character is really buff, though, as far as I can tell from what I googled. And this does indicate his buffness a little bit less than I would like. But he does have a lot of clothing on, so once you pose him, you probably won't notice. So, let's go ahead and get into the aesthetic. It is a clothed figure, and I have to say the clothing is pretty good. It's not meant to be like a super fancy material or anything like that, so a slightly heavier weave, as this scale kind of necessitates, does work well. There's lots of layers going on, and he still poses pretty nicely. They've done some nice things to give him like the kind of baggy sleeve look without it being too cumbersome and irritating, and I haven't found that to be a problem in posing at all. In fact, it works nicely. A little bit of detail work going on back there. All the stitching and everything seems really nice. The samurai pants, I don't know what you would call these officially, but that's what I'm calling them. The pleating and stitch work and everything on there, it's done really well. And then the plastic parts that they have on here are also pretty good. There's one thing I hate, and that is for his eye patch. The separation between the part that's on the hair and the part that's on the face. That's just part of the assembly process. That's not clean enough. That doesn't work well for me. But the head is sculpted well. I like the features a whole bunch. I like the paint job. There's a little bit of shading and whatnot going on. It looks really nice. The patch has some different finishes. The eye is glossy. It looks really good. The hair looks good. It's kind of stylized, obviously, in the way it's flowing or whatever you want to call it back here, but looks good. The plastic hands, nice paint work on there. The sculpt work is good. A little bit cartoonish, I would say, for all of the sculpt work. It seems like it's kind of stylized, and maybe that's just what they were going for. I'm not sure, but I do like the face a whole bunch. And then for the feet, don't look at the legs because the legs are meant to be hidden. But for the feet, we do have the socks and the sandals, and the articulation works with the sandals, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, I think aesthetically speaking, for a clothed figure at this scale, this looks pretty darn good. I think that would have been nice if they did something to the clothing to give it a little bit more depth, whether it's some airbrushing or some washing or something, like a stone wash type deal, not washes like paint wash. But even that, something to give it a little bit of depth would be good. It's very clean looking, but what they have on here is done really well. I think this is good. This is markedly better than the Superman. So for the aesthetic, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I do think it could be a little bit better, but it's pretty solid. Now, where this figure really shines is in the accessory department. That Superman figure had virtually none, and they were not good. This figure has a bunch. It has the neutral head that comes on him in the package, then it has two different expression faces. I like them both. The angry one especially looks wonderful. I love the head sculpts, I love the styling. I like the way they've done this a whole bunch. For hands, He's got a ton of different hands, all kinds of hands to use all the different accessories. You can see right there, plenty of hands, so that's good. So we do get 2 different katanas, one red, one black. One's a little bit longer than the other. They do unsheath, and they have the red tassels on there that are actual string, so that's very cool. I like that. Plastic could be a little stiffer. They're a little soft, but it's not bad. We get some stones and a little stone sculpture thingy. I don't know anything about it, but you get those, and they look like what they're supposed to. You get 2 little ice creams. I guess those are ice creams. They look like ice cream on a stick or something. I don't know. You get those, and then you get my favorite accessories, which are 3 different blast effects, or slash, whatever you want to call them. One that looks like 3 things he's thrown, perhaps. I'm not familiar with the source material. Very transparent plastic, looks wonderful with the shading. You get another yellow and orange one, which goes on the ground. I'm guessing that's for like a sword stroke. Then you get one blue and white one, which would go in the air for another sword stroke, and they all just look wonderful. I love effect parts like that, and these have been executed very nicely. You do get a clear acrylic-ish. It's not really acrylic. It looks more like polypropylene, maybe? I don't know. It's weird. A little bit milky, but you get a clear thing to hold those up, and then you get a nice display stand to hold him up. Not really meant for action poses, but it is nicely executed, so that's cool. So really good spread of accessories. I'm gonna go 9.5 out of 10. The swords being a softer material is a bit weird, and then that clear thing to hold the effect parts isn't great. Alright, so let's talk about the articulation. It does have pretty much all your standard action figure articulation that you would expect in a regular action figure underneath the clothing. So it's going to work pretty well. Obviously the body's not meant to be looked at on its own, but it does work really well with all these baggy clothes. For the head, I do believe it's just a standard double ball peg. We'll set the hair aside. Standard double ball peg for the head and neck, which means you can move it around however you like. You could get a little bit more range out of that with a little bit of fine tuning, but looking up and down is alright. Leaning side to side, you're going to have plenty of range. The neck itself does not move. Shoulders, does feel like there's a butterfly joint in there, so that's kind of good. The ball hinge gets the arms up to horizontal, and then you're going to get your full rotation. You have to mess around with the cloth as you would expect, but you will be able to raise the arms up all the way. So full range of motion in the shoulders, that's good. Bicep swivel is in there. It's standard bicep swivel, double jointed elbow. Good range, no problems there. And then ball hinge wrists, not a ton of range because there's not a lot of clearance, but you do get ball hinge wrists, so you can pose those however you want. For the torso, I'm not sure exactly what's going on in here. Doesn't really do much. There's a joint somewhere, it looks like in the lower abdomen down to the pelvis area, there's a ball peg that offers lots of range. That's where you're going to do most of your posing. It does feel like there's a diaphragm ball joint that doesn't work for crap, like at all. A little bit of rotation, which might be helpful, but it doesn't seem like there's much going on in there. And if you want to, you can separate his clothing to see his skin, but it's not made to do that. The skin does not match. Or if it is meant to do that, they didn't do a good job matching the head to the chest. I would assume it's just meant to be closed up though. So you're not supposed to really see that, but that does look like crap if you do that, so you don't want to do that. For the hips, these baggy pants should allow decent range. Let's see what we have. So he can kick horizontal, that's pretty good. All the way horizontal, going forward, going back, you just get a little bit of range. Going out to the side, and of course you can readjust the pants as you pose. I'm not bothering to do it. Going out to the side for splits, not the best range. It's not bad, but it definitely could be a lot better. Thigh swivel, doesn't go in too much. Well, it goes in, I guess. It's not too bad. Yeah, it's not the best thigh swivel, but it works well enough. Of course, the double jointed knee is going to work just fine. All the way up, no problem there. And then for the ankle, you get a ball hinge, which is definitely too loose. Way too loose on the ball hinge. You get really good range, proper ankle rocker, and that's fine, but it's definitely too loose. Like the hinge part, way too loose. It's not as bad on this side, so maybe that's just a fluke. You do get a toe hinge, which is definitely loose, but it's nice that they incorporated it with the sandal. That's pretty cool. So articulation-wise, it's not great. It's probably going to be good enough to do your standard basic posing. Anything too crazy, you might run into some complications, but most of his body works relatively well, like a standard action figure, despite the clothing. So you might be able to finagle it and get it to do what you want with a little bit of extra effort. Always hard to get things in like that on camera. So articulation-wise, I'll give it a 7. It's fine. It's not impressive, but it's good enough. It's all right. And yeah, I don't think you're going to notice the chest too much as long as you don't separate it to see inside. So yeah, the articulation is nothing special, but it will get the job done. Lots of really good accessories, and the aesthetic is pretty solid for a clothed figure. So is it the best thing in the world? Definitely not. Is it going to be plenty fun to pose and have some cool effect parts? I think so. This is like it's from a whole different company, honestly, compared to the Superman figure. I like this a whole bunch. I'm going to give it a final rating of 8 out of 10. The accessories really push it over the top. The articulation's not great, but it's not bad, and the aesthetic is pretty solid. So yeah, this was a good call for Big Bad Toy Store to ask me to review this. It might have redeemed this Beast Kingdom brand a little bit. Let me know if you guys want me to review anything else from them. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I don't know. That dark side is calling my name. Let me know what you guys think. And let me know what you thought about the figure in the comment section below. But there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos almost every single day and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.